Welcome on back to the Googan Lab. We're on a very grassy lake and we're going to be talking about swim jigs, the perfect grass fishing jig. Swim jigs, an excellent grass fishing option. Fish on, let's get into it.
That right there,
that's a fat one.
is why you throw a swim jig. Gorgeous.
So swim jigs are designed to really come through the grass. Now you can swim any jig. You can take like our thick jig, which is a flipping style jig. You can take a juicy jig, which is kind of a casting jig. But if you're in really thick grass and you want to get the maximum penetration through the grass swimming it, using a swim jig is the way to go. And there's a couple of things that make it different. So the head design is very hydrodynamic, going straight into the weeds. It's designed to just deflect off, inline line tie right there. And so it's designed to be a wedge and come through that grass. And you've got a small weed guard. You've got a reduced bristle weed guard, and that is because a fish is going to grab this and you just want it to be like a spinnerbait or a bladed jig bite where you can just kind of reel into them and they'll grab that. So you're going to have a little bit smaller hook as well on your swim jig, so you're not catching into the grass. And I always like to pair mine with a good kind of vibrating trailer like this Kraken Craw right here. This is the Kraken Craw Junior. So that setup right there, it looks like a crawfish. It comes through the grass extremely well, but again, you could swim any jig. I love to throw 1/4 ounce most of the time. I'll go up to a 3/8 every once in a while, and that just keeps you up and coming through that grass quite nicely. As far as gear goes, I love to throw mine on Braid because most of the time I'm fishing it in grass. Braid cuts through the grass and you get a direct connection to your jig, so you really feel those bites and you can get a lot of action just twitching your rod tip by having the Braid on there. But I downsize my rod power between throwing like a thick jig, a flipping style, or other regular jigs. I actually go down to what I would throw a spinnerbait on or a clickbait on, and this is the reaction rod. So it's a 7.2 medium power, fast action, and with that Braid, just an excellent casting, excellent combo to throw this. My general rule on throwing a swim jig is if I can't get a spinnerbait or a bladed jig through that grass very well, like say there's intermixed lily pads or it's just really thick, that's when I like to go with a swimming jig like the Grass Hero, because it just allows you to get through that stuff that you wouldn't be able to with a spinnerbait or a bladed jig. Fish that same area and you're not getting the flash, you're not getting the thump, so it is more effective in clear water sometimes. If a spinnerbait's just looking too flashy, looks like it's gonna be off-putting, or a vibrating jig, just too much action is going to put the fish off. This is just a subtle version of that. You know, it's without the blades, without the thump, and sometimes that subtleness is really key, and that's what they want. So you can burn these things on top of the water as well, really get a lot of lift, throwing a big Kraken Craw or something that's got a lot of action on the tail, and just hold that rod tip high and it'll be like a frog bite sometimes. But it's very simple, very easy to fish. You can really just reel this thing in. I like to add some twitches in the rod tip to just look like a crawfish kind of scooting through, but it's a very easy technique to catch fish in the grass. And this is probably going to be, for this time we're fishing here on this lake, my main go-to moving bait. So I'll have this rigged up, and then if I need to slow down with something else, I can do that. But this is a key moving bait when you're fishing heavy grass. So those are the keys on fishing swim jigs. If y'all want to stay tuned for more tips, subscribe right here to the Googans.